Hi, I'm Jennifer. Welcome to Orton Gillingham Coaching. Today we want to talk about open syllables, which is the third syllable type we teach in our Revlock system of labeling syllables. It is down here though in where it dominates. So we always look for R first, then look for E, V, L next. Last, look for open and closed, O and C. So that's where it is in the Revlock. Open syllable pattern is consonant vowel, leaving the vowel open and making it long or making the vowel say its name. It could also just be a vowel. Initial terms for teaching the open syllable is that your student does need to know what a vowel and consonant are. And they should be very aware of that by now. Using this scope and sequence from my workbooks, yours may differ, but probably not too much if you're using an Orton Gillingham curriculum or scope and sequence. Your student should already be familiar with the closed syllable, the CVC pattern. They should be familiar with magic E pattern. They should have already heard this makes the vowel say its name, makes it long. So you actually have already started, here's where long vowels are. So you've already been dividing VCCV words, rabbit words, and reptile words, and even candy words. So by now your students should have a real good grasp of what a syllable is. What open syllable will drive home is that the syllable can be made of just one vowel, but not just one consonant. So this is a good time to drive that message home in the layered messaging of syllables and syllable types. So our first activity that we want to do in our open syllables is we want to get out our deck of cards, and we want to get our student knowing the letter with the keywords, the long vowel with the keywords. And so we will get our deck out and we will start with A, baby, E, zero, I, spider, O, clover. U is a little trickier. It has two. It's tuna, as in long O-O is the sound, and music, and it's a Y-O-O with a line over the O's. So we have two long sounds of U. It is oo and U, and it's music with the Y-O-O and tuna with the O-O. And then we also have our sounds of Y. And using this scope and sequence that I use, you've already taught them the three sounds of Y in another lesson. And so that Y makes three sounds, and it makes the long I as in cry, and it can make the long E as in candy. It can also make a short I as in gym, but it can also make the schwa sound as an analysis. So, but right now we're talking about the two long sounds of Y, the candy and the cry. The other thing we could do is get out our sandpaper cards or a tray and have them connecting that finger, that rough touch, this is the multisensory, with A, baby, A, baby. You can also use sand trays. This is just in addition to writing, you can have them doing this first. E, zero, E, zero. Have them tracing it and saying it at the same time. I'm trying to think of my keyword, spider. I, spider, I, spider. So, and of course you do all of them. Once we get the student used to knowing the long vowel with the keyword, then we can mix in our magic E cards and our short vowel cards. So, mixing them in. We go through all the deck. We're trying to get them automatic. So now we've got this many cards in their deck, and you can start checking these off on their scope and sequence that they've learned them, and it'll get them excited. They can see that. You can put that in their folder, or if you're in a classroom situation, you can have each student checking off what they know. Our next activity is the comparison deck. So you will have a closed syllable, and then you open it, and it's an open syllable. Notice these are not beautiful, but they are very functional. So I just took a index card and folded it. So we have bet, and then we open it, and it's B. We have sod, so. Gob, go. Hen, he. Nod, no. This is from my scope and sequence workbook. You can cut these out or you can leave them in and just fold the paper down and then have them read. Sit, fold, sigh, tip, tie, dim, die. So, and then we get a little more difficult. Stomp, stow, pop, po, crimp, cry. So you try to get a little more difficult as you get them used to the pattern. The next activity is dictation and reading, and you would have, this is just some cards from Scope and Sequence Workbook. You could do this any way you want, just writing them down, or I like the card version because I like to then add in cards later, other cards. So you can have them read each syllable, get them used to seeing that pattern of open syllable means long vowel, and makes a vowel say its name. Later you can add in the other cards that have closed syllable and magic E syllable patterns with, you know, syllables and words, and have them read all those. You can have blends and digraphs in there, so they're practicing that. Put them on a board, you put magnets on them, put them on a board and say, okay, which one of these is open, which one is closed. You can have them doing sorting exercises with these. What you're trying to get them to do is used to seeing the open syllable, differentiating between open, closed, and magic E, and also practicing their blends. It's all layered and it all builds upon the next. So you're actually using past lessons to do present lessons as well. We mark a long vowel with a macron. We've already taught them in the closed syllables that we mark a short vowel with a brev. And now we teach students that a long vowel is a macron, is marked with a macron, a little line over it. So we can have a student go through a worksheet like this. This is from Scope and Sequence Workbook, and you can have them mark each long vowel with a macron, read the syllable out loud, the open syllable out loud. We're making sure they're grasping that they're seeing a long vowel and they're reading it out loud. Then you can combine some closed syllables in here, have them mark the closed syllable with the brev, long syllable with the macron, read each thing out loud. So you can combine them. So now is also a great time to make sure your student is hearing what they're seeing and what they're reading. So you will ask them questions like, why is that vowel long? It's an open syllable. What does that vowel being open make that vowel do? Makes it say its name. What if I took the word die, and I put a on the front? What does that say? My. We want to be sure to get them hearing it. This is a good base worksheet, but then to use it to ask some questions, to do some dictation, to make sure that we're doing the multisensory part of Orton Gillingham, not just writing and just reading, but also making sure they're hearing what you're saying. Now that we've taught students closed syllable, magic E syllable, and now open syllable, we can have a worksheet where they go through and label each syllable. So din would be closed, may, open, pine, magic E. So you have them just go through and do a worksheet where they acknowledge each syllable type with their letter types. It's also great to have them read syllables out loud if they can, once they label them. Another activity is to actually put two syllables together that make a word. So, and you can actually have them mark these with macrons and brevs as well, just to see the difference, because you're going to put something like open, O-P-E-N. They can mark it with a macron here and a brev there, and then you say, okay, now read those two syllables together. Open, open. Even, V-E-N, even. Omit, omit. Then you can get a little bit harder and have like photo, two open syllables. Baby. So you could do some syllable work like that where they're actually reading words by knowing the syllable types and reading them slowly, then a little faster. One activity I like to do with students is to give them real words like hi, me, so, be, go, why, fly, my. They suddenly understand why that vowel says its name, why it's open. They've probably seen these as sight words before. Now they're really getting at why they're using a long vowel. And it's kind of fun to watch their faces light up with that. As a final word, a student now has 3 syllable types. They have closed syllable, magic E, and now open. They've been dividing vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel words, rabbit words, reptile words, candy words. They know Y says 3 vowel sounds, and they know a vowel can say its name because you've already taught them magic E and now you've taught them open syllables. An open syllable should just drive home the fact that a syllable can be made of 1 vowel but not 1 consonant. Your student should be reading some short passages, if not short stories by now. What you're looking for is automaticity and recall, quick recall. You want a student to not have to think about what they're reading and what they're seeing. You want them to have 95% accuracy in the lesson you're teaching them before moving on, if possible. And if you do move on and they have some trouble spots, you want to try and incorporate those trouble spots into your current lesson. For instance, if your student has had trouble differentiating between D and G, the D and G sounds, then you want to incorporate D and G as much as you can in those lessons. On another note, be sure that you're keeping your talking to a minimum. Allow your student time to recall an answer. Sometimes, especially if a child is special needs, dyslexic, recall takes a little longer. And I hope you know there's no such thing as overteaching something. You can't overteach something. Repetition is very much a key in any Orton Gillingham lesson. They're going to have repetition, especially if you're working with a special needs or dyslexic student. They don't just write things backwards, they have recall problems. So it takes them 20 times to hear something that takes another student 5 times. So repetition is absolute key. That's it for today. I hope you will like and subscribe. Visit ogforall.com and come back soon for more videos.